Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Just a short while back, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has completed his reply to the motion of thanks to the President's address. It was a long speech, about an hour and 40 minutes, where he spoke about everything under the sun. What his government did in the last 10 years, whether it is weeding out people from the poverty, whether it is building the toilets, whether it's constructing the 4 crore houses, and much more beyond this. But has he been able to answer any of the concerns which were raised by Rahul Gandhi yesterday? Sadly and unfortunately, he did not answer even a single concern. Because Rahul Gandhi, if you look at his speech yesterday, he spoke about the manufacturing capacity, production capacity. He spoke about artificial intelligence, optics, and how India is unable to compete with China. All of these, he said, that needs a vision and a strategy. But how he will lay the vision, how he will lay the strategy, Prime Minister Modi, despite his long speech, was unable to answer all of this. Just to give you some broad pointers as to what have been the major highlights from the PM Modi's speech, he said that those who have photo sessions in the huts of the poor for their own entertainment will find the mention of the poor in parliament boring. Then the talk on the social media about leaders focused on jacuzzi stylish showers, but our focus is on providing water to every home. Then he also attacked former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, where he said that a PM was there in our country who identified one problem and said that when 1 rupee was sent from Delhi, only 15 paisa reached the bottom. Who was getting the 15 paisa? This everyone can understand. And at that time, there was only one party from the panchayat level to the central level. Then he also spoke about how a PM used to chant 21st century was so far from the reality that he was unable to provide for needs of the 20th century. Then he also said that we use money to build nation rather than building Sheesh Mahal. And he kept on repeating the word Sheesh Mahal, and for the obvious reasons that Delhi is going to polls tomorrow. Then he also said that the president's address to parliament strengthens the resolve of Viksit Bharat, gives new hope, and inspires the people. Then he also said that we believe in spending resources towards the public welfare, and our model dovetails saving and development. Then he also said that before we came to power, LED bulbs were sold at 400. We conducted such drives that the prices came down to 40. And LED bulbs helped conserve energy, and this also saved around 20,000 crores of the people of the country, and so on and so forth. Then he said that we live by the spirit of the constitution, we just don't hold the booklet of the constitution. And then he said that those who live with the constitution in their pockets forget how they pushed Muslim women into hardships. And towards the end of his long speech, he says that this is just our third term. We are there and we will continue to be in power for many years. That's what he said towards the end of the speech. So was Prime Minister Modi's speech boring? Was it repetitive? Did it sound extremely electoral, like what he speaks in every election rally? Those are the big questions. But the most significant thing, and which stood out, was the fact that there was no mention about the Maha Kumbh Stampede. So will we analyze this also, that whether it was such an insensitive speech? All this and much more over the next 30 minutes. And I'm joined by a special panel today. I'm joined by Professor Apurva Anand of the Delhi University, author and columnist, joins us. Thank you so much for joining. We have Professor Ajay Gudavarti from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, again an author and commentator and columnist. Thank you so much for joining. And we have Professor Shashi Shekhar Singh from the Delhi University. Thank you so much, Professor Singh, for joining on HW News. And I'll begin with Professor Ajay Gudavarti. Ajay, if you have heard Prime Minister Modi's speech, 1 hour, 40 minutes long speech, was it rhetorical? Was it repetitive? Did it have any substance at all?
Well, Neelu, I think the most substantive issue that I could see in Modi's speech is, I think, a decisive shift from his Hindu rhetoric and back to the caste rhetoric, in terms of SC, ST and OBC. If it's been long time, BJP has been campaigning that Jat Paat se upar uth ke baat karna, chahe hum sab Hindu hai. I think that language is completely displaced today. And he has moved much closer to Rahul Gandhi's language of caste census. He has moved to the language of social equality and social welfare. In fact, he went to the extent of saying that, jiska hak jitna hai utna milna chahiye. This is an uncanny shift in Mr. Modi's speech, because he was completely against this kind of a language, a few years back. That was, in fact, this kind of a language was being depicted as encouraging casteism. Of course, he did say that we are doing this welfare without social conflict, which I guess is an oblique reference to caste census, that, without that kind of a conflictual situation we are trying to do. Second was, he talked about question of inflation and employment. He talked about MSCS, exporting of toys, which is again an agenda that Rahul Gandhi has been raising, for I don't know, ad nauseum. He has been raising this question that we have to shift to MSCS. Employment can only be created by expanding manufacturing sector, which is again, very unusual of Prime Minister Modi to be responding to question of employment. And of course, the rhetoric of representation states that they have made the first women ST president. But Rahul again raised this question that you have OBC MPs, but how many of them can open their mouths? This is what Rahul raised. Where is the response to that? Is that a substantive representation? And finally, Neelu, two important things. One, you referred Maha Kumbh, but the other major issue Rahul raised was the electoral fraud in Maharashtra. And I was literally taken aback by Rahul Gandhi's mention that 70 lakh votes have been, there are extra votes compared to the Lok Sabha elections. And he gave this uncanny statistics that one household had 7,000 extra votes. I mean, this is not a small allegation by any stretch of an imagination, and any responsible government should come forth. And Rahul went one step further, and even he said that, we have asked for the data from CEC, and he said that mujhe pura yakin hai ki we will not get that data from CEC. I mean, this is again a very direct attack by Rahul Gandhi on the functioning of CEC and the government, and the undermining of democratic institutions. And as it was expected, Mr. Modi stayed clear of these allegations. And I don't think they will refer to Maha Kumbh, because if they have not been referring and addressing the Manipur problem, which the scale of violence is much, much higher than Maha Kumbh. Maha Kumbh, one can say, is an accident or a mismanagement. But Manipur clearly has much clearer political connotations to the nature of violence in Manipur. If they could stay clear of that, I think keeping silent on Maha Kumbh does not come really as a big surprise.
Okay, all right. I'll come to Professor Apurvanand now, that while he was listing out the achievements of his government and saying that, look, we have done so much for the SCs and the STs, and he started talking about the number of seats in the medical colleges. I just noted this down, and then he comes to another data. What he says is that since 2014, the number of SC seats has increased in for MBBS. If you talk about the SC seats, the figure was 17,000. No, so the figure has gone up to 17,000. Before 2014, it was 3,800. Then he talks about how OBC students, the number of seats for the OBCs has increased. It was less than 14,000. Currently, now it's poised at 32,000. And then he goes on to say something very interesting, that in my tenure, every week we have a new university. Every day we have a new ITI. Then he says every 2 days we have a new college. I think Professor Apurvanand, you'd like to answer this data which he came up with. And I don't know from where he got this data, but he did mention about all this in his speech. What will you really say?
Thank you, Neelu. But do we need to answer this data? Do we need to fact check Narendra Modi, knowing fully well that Narendra Modi is prone to lying, and his supporters also know that he lies, and they like him for his lies. They say that he's our liar, and he's very good. We like his lies, and we know the truth of it. And it has been exposed, I think, several times in the last 3-4 years, these claims of Narendra Modi that we have opened so many colleges and aims. In Darbhanga, people have shown that there is no building there, and you claim that AIMS has been opened in such and such place. So we need not respond to what Narendra Modi is saying. And Narendra Modi also knows that his constituency wants to believe in his lies, and that's why he keeps manufacturing, fabricating facts to give it to his people, and they believe in it, and we know the truth. So where's the need to even think about it? Because we are dealing with a demagogue, and when you deal with a demagogue, you don't think about facts, you don't check facts. It's the overall impact that he makes through his speech or some other thing. So it's demagoguery at its worst or best, as you can say, what Narendra Modi was indulging in the parliament. Yeah, and all.
Right. No, but how repetitive has his speech become? Because does it mean that his script writers or his speech writers, if I may say, that they don't have anything new to offer? They cannot think out of the box. Because if you look at 2014, and from there the journey began of his speeches, his new slogans, every day he's coining a new term. All that is not coming at all now. What does that mean? And every speech he makes looks the same now, whether it is speaking in the election rallies or whether he's speaking inside parliament. Professor Purvanand, yes.
But we think that repetition is negative. I think in a rhetorical strategy, repetition works very well. You keep repeating yourself, which then persuades your constituency that something must be true in what you are saying because you are repeating it. So repetition is not that bad for a demagogue. He keeps repeating to persuade his constituency that what he is saying, he believes in it, and therefore he's repeating it. We crave for novelty, we crave for new things, but he keeps building on his old lies by repeating them. And that gets entrenched in the minds of his audience, his constituency, which likes to hear them again and again. And that is what it does. So we have to understand it by analyzing the rhetoric of Narendra Modi and look at him as a demagogue, pure demagogue.
Right. All right. I'll come to Professor Shashi Shekhar Singh. Professor Singh, what would you really say and how would you assess Prime Minister Modi's speech today, especially in comparison to what Rahul raised the concerns on yesterday? Yes.
No, of course, it is repetitive, but without any facts. Because unless you repeat the facts, you say that I am against such and such, I am against such and such, and time and again you are telling this truth. You are not doing the same thing again and again, but you are coming out with new jumlas, new, terminologies, and using it and forgetting that very terminology in the next, your speech. That's the problem with Mr. Modi. And therefore, if you have the conviction, if you are ready to remove all these problems that the India is facing, and you are telling it again and again that we will remove it, we have already done this much and we will do this much in future, then it's okay. But he is coming, you look at the kind of, jumla, Viksit Bharat 2047. It's again a jumla. If you produce the facts about what is the economic status of India today, if you look at the hunger index of India, it is from 102 to 105. So, these are the facts. And he doesn't want to talk about the facts. He always talks about something. He will do something in future. Now, that is the target. So, can India grow and develop, a Viksit kind of, developed nation, if the kind of, economic growth, if the kind of, problems that India is facing today in all sectors, how can you say that India will be a Viksit Bharat? He cannot explain all these facts. Now, as he is, saying the kind of, every day or college or every week, university, that means 4 universities in every month. And therefore 48 universities in year. And then if you multiply the, kind of 10 years of Mr. Modi, then it will be 480.
Professor Singh, but don't you find this as one of the biggest blusters given by Modi? Just look at the data. Every week a new university, every day a new ITI, every 2 days a new college.
Oh, that's my point. I just came to know about a new opening of the new college in University of Delhi, and that is the Savarkar College or something. I mean, if you look at the 10 years of Prime Minister Modi's regime, and there was no reference of any college in this university. Just before the election of Delhi, one reference is coming that Savarkar College is going to be opened in University of Delhi. Now look at the fact. And then he's talking about every week there is a university, every 2 days there is a college or something. And this has been, referred by him time and again without any facts. Without any fact. That's the problem.
No, that's
This
he
is
doesn't
not.
believe in.
Yes,
Yeah,
Kumbh
this is
Stampede.
not the first time, as Shashi Shekhar ji is saying.
Again,
This is not the first time he is making this claim. These claims have been made even before. That is what Shashi Shekhar ji is saying.
Right,
that's
right.
the point.
Yes.
And so
Okay.
he loves to make claim, without having any credential.
Right.
There's no credential at all. I mean, if you talk to the people, many people will say, oh, Modi is saying something. Oh, it's a false. Jhoot bolta hai. Jhoot bolta hai. I
Right.
mean, the kind of image he has built up for himself in India, except those who are the bhakt. वो जो भी बोलेंगे, वो सब सही होगा. But the point is, can it be cross-checked by the facts? No. And that,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
what is the fact? What is the fact? Now he is saying that 25 crores people have already come out from the poverty, and still he is giving 5 kg grains to the 80 crore people. Is it the kind of, look at this similarity? 25 crores has already, so they will not get 5 kg grains because they have already come out of the poverty. But still he's saying 80 crores people are, and will also give this 80 crores 5 kg grain free even next 5 years or something. Look at the kind of facts he is producing. He has
Right.
nothing to do with what he is talking about. That's the problem with Mr. Modi, and therefore he has already lost all his credibility. Now, I have a question to Prime Minister Modi. Why are you not telling about the Achhe Din? Where is that Achhe Din? He started with Achhe Din, if you remember the 2014 election. Now he's even not referring to that. Even not referring to that Achhe Din. So every time a new Jumla, and people are being, the people who are actually the constituency of, Mr. Modi, they are happy with this kind of Jumla. That's the problem. So
Right.
even sometimes it's very hard to listen and bear his speech. It's very, मैं तो कई बार तो, no, it's, intolerable.
Right. No, you're right in
Yes,
the way
that's
that
the
even his jumlas have hollowed out completely. But since we are constantly making a comparison with what Rahul Gandhi said, Ajay, I'll come to you now. That he this was his first attack on the Gandhis when all the three Gandhis are in parliament. This was the first time he made this attack, saying that all the three Gandhis are in parliament. Then he went on further to look down upon Rahul Gandhi by saying that he doesn't understand foreign policy. Then he makes a mention of the book called JFK Forgotten Crisis. He doesn't come out with the instances, but he asks the people to read about it so that you can know what transpired between Prime Minister Nehru and JF Kennedy. This is what he says, that please see what all was happening in the garb of foreign policy. This is what he says. Then time and again throughout that 1 hour 40-minute speech, he keeps on saying that Samvidhan ko samajhte nahi hai log, which means that obviously he was pointing that out to Rahul Gandhi, that he doesn't understand constitution, he doesn't understand foreign policy. Then he's talking about the dynasty politics, saying that all the three members of a family are in parliament. Have you ever heard about it? And he puts it out as a quiz. Now, what would you really say to this? Does he think that Rahul Gandhi is not an LOP, but some leader whom he can just continue targeting as much as he wants?
No, I think it is coming through now very clearly that he's on the defense and they have lost the narrative. Last 10 years, first 10 years of his regime, BJP was setting up the narrative and opposition was, struggling to kind of respond. Today, you can see that in this entire 1.5 hour speech, there is no clear narrative that is emerging. He is in fact on a borrowed wicket. He is moved to social welfare. He is moved to a question of reservations. He's moved to a question of social equality. He's talking about SC, ST, OBC. He's talking about
You are saying that he's playing on Rahul Gandhi's pitch.
Exactly. So he is only now responding to Rahul Gandhi's speech, because which obviously says, which obviously tells you that on the ground it is slipping, and that's precisely the reason why he is feeling this need to respond to Rahul Gandhi. Otherwise, he would have completely ignored that narrative. He is again and again talking about constitution without, of course, referring to Dr. Ambedkar, because Mr. Amit Shah's insult of Ambedkar is very fresh in people's mind. But he's again and again referring to constitution. So you can clearly see in his speech that old rhetoric of Hindu Muslim is out of the window. Caste census, social justice, social equality is squarely the new ground, new turf on which Ms. Modi is being compelled to play his. But the point is this: can, as Mr. Apoorvan called him a demagogue, can demagoguery play along with agenda of social welfare and social justice? It's very difficult. You cannot have a majoritarian politics. You cannot build a majoritarian psyche with the question of social welfare and social equality. All demagogues across globe, Neelu, stay clear from constitutionalism, social equality, and social welfare. They therefore need cultural optics of Viksit Bharat, India is greatest, we have conquering the world, we are Vishwaguru, then we have Chandrayaan. That is the rhetoric they are more comfortable in, because that is what also reinforces the infallibility of Mr. Modi. But today you are seeing Mr. Modi trying to become a social welfare. No, he in fact talked about elderly people. He said they have increased the insurance for elderly people. It's a different matter if they have taken away the concessions even in railways to elderly people. He talked about Grameen women. When did we hear Mr. Modi talk about Grameen? For him, he is living in a la-la land of urban landscapes, Ahmedabad, big malls. And you remember he was skating in a water boat during Gujarat election. That is the Modi we knew. That one who talks about new AI and things of that high-end technology. Today he is talking about Grameen women, Dalit Mahila. So that obviously means that his ground has slipped. That BJP is on the weaker wicket, not just in this immediate context, Neelu, but I think in the long term, BJP will not be comfortable on this turf. That is not Modi's turf. He cannot play up, because his image is all about a majoritarian, infallible leader who can target Muslims. Suddenly, Muslim has become a non-issue. Obviously, because Hindus are not responding to this, and I have been arguing this for a long time, that Indian politics cannot be captured through Islamophobia. That people will come back in a big way to basic issues. That this whole Muslim hype around targeting Muslims has just died out. Once that issue is out, BJP is on the weak wicket. They really do not know where they have to put, which basket they have to put their egg in, because they're not strong on social welfare. All your human development index, hunger index, malnutrition index, employment index, poverty index, not to mention media freedom, democracy, and so on and so forth. All we have slipped on all of those. So Modi will not be able to stick to this discourse, because the data and the facts will go against him. So he has to obfuscate by saying something. But this turf itself, I'm arguing, is something alien to him. This turf itself will mean that Modi will slip, because this is not his strong turf. His strong turf is Hindu optics. Hindu khatre mein hai, we are a strong Hindu. Why has he not even by mistake referred to that kind of a discourse? Second, you see that Modi often insinuates very incendiary language, tries to provoke, misrepresents, distorts. He has even not done that. I mean, he has given wrong facts. That's a different aspect from saying that he is not provoking, and which also means that he is not in that position of infallibility where whatever he says will immediately
provoke. But he might not have provoked, but he did look down upon Rahul Gandhi. He did look down upon the Gandhi families. And Professor Apoorvan, I'll come to you. He did mention about, there are politicians or there are political leaders who talk like urban Naxals. Then he referred to the Indian state argument, which Rahul Gandhi recently made on the day of the inauguration of the new Congress building, where he said that Congress is fighting not only BJP and RSS, but the Indian state as well. And then he specially made a reference of that. What would you really say to that? Is that something which is deeply disturbing for Modi, or deliberately he's trying to rake up this issue to put Rahul Gandhi in a bad light?
I would like to agree with Ajay. But then I think that Narendra Modi has not given up any of his earlier, what I call his political platform. He continues with that. And what is that? One is his anti-Muslim or Islamophobic page, which he keeps modulating. So, for example, in this speech, you heard about Muslim women and Muslim women. So he tries to be seen as a patron of Muslim women, savior of Muslim women. This is a greater insult to Muslims than killing them, because what he is saying that he is saving Muslim women from Muslim men, and he's a great savior of Muslim women. And he repeated it here because triple talaq is now an old story, but he is repeating it in this speech. And again, he talked about Tushtikaran and Santushtikaran. Again, his rhetorical tool which he uses, but the reference to Tushtikaran never goes. And therefore, this plank remains, the anti-Muslim plank remains, and the majoritarian plank remains. What I'm trying to say is that he has not moved away from his majoritarian plank. And second, and the targets of his attack, or I would say the targets of the attack of RSS for a very, very long time have been Muslims, Christians, and communists. Okay. Now, communists have been replaced with urban Naxal. And who is an urban Naxal? Who criticizes the state. And the state is now the supreme thing. And people should not think about their sovereignty. They are not sovereign. It's the state and it's the nation. That is what he keeps repeating in all his speeches, and that is what he has done now. Second, in his speeches, if you analyze his language, it is full of contempt. It's very violent. It's contempt for the opponent. I was reading the speech of Rahul Gandhi. He was not contemptuous of Narendra Modi. He said that Narendra Modi did try. So he spoke in a parliamentary language. But Narendra Modi doesn't care about parliamentary etiquette or parliamentary language. And that is what we see year after year, speech after speech in Narendra Modi's speeches or his talks. And that is what I saw this year too.
Okay, so towards the end, Professor Shashi Shekhar Singh, if I may again ask you to do a comparison between Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister Modi. Of course, Rahul has evolved multiple times. He's evolved manifold, but we see a constant decline as far as the standard of Modi's speeches is concerned. So, how would people? I mean, how would the common man today take this comparison between Rahul and Modi? Will they say, as they talk on the streets, that Rahul is a hero and Modi is a zero? Has it turned out like that?
No, the problem with the Indian people is that those who are the bhakts of Modi, they are still claiming Modi as a hero. If you talk to the people, they will say, no, 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 Modi is a hero. And those who are against Rahul Gandhi, they will still say, he is Pappu. I mean, look at this. But if you talk to the neutral people, even those people who are earlier critical of Congress and Rahul Gandhi and others, now they are saying, no, he's evolving. He's evolving as a leader of the opposition. He's going to the people. He's going to the people who are poor, who are deprived, who are look at the kind of So he's taking Rahul Gandhi's such kind of attempt as fashion, or he's going to the huts of the poor and having the photographs and photo sessions and something like that. Though it's a fact that he's going from one place to another place and sharing the grief and pain of the poorer people. So how he is evolving as a leader of the opposition, and of course the a leader of the Congress party. That's the point. Contrary to that, what Modi is doing last 10 years as the prime minister, 2 terms as the prime minister, and then still he is talking about something like that. Well, it looks that is there any content in the, the kind of speech he is delivering? He has failed to deliver the goods to the people, and that is why he's talking about all these things and attacking on the, leader of the, opposition party. Like, there is election tomorrow, and he's saying that Apada. Look at the kind of, the way he was trying to, defame the, Aam Aadmi Party in, in Delhi. So is this the kind of language people are expecting from the Prime Minister, who had already Prime Minister for 10 years or more, and the third term? That's why I'm taking. Again, one more thing is saying, caste, people are talking caste as a fashion. See, if you are talking about any sort of, the kind of, abolition of caste or something, or equality or something, no. Still he's saying that people are talking like, caste as a fashion. If you look at the Amit Shah's speech in the parliament, Ambedkar has become a fashion. Ambedkar, and the Ambedkar was the hero who, tried to make India, caste free. Abolition of the caste. Abolition of the untouchability or something. So still you are talking about caste as a fashion. That means you are, whatever you are talking about, it's not coming from the, heart. It's coming from the mouth. That's why this kind of reputations, and still, if you ask, Narendra Modi, don't talk about Muslim. Now, I have a question to Prime Minister Modi. You are saying that you are the savior of the Muslim women through this three or talaq kind of thing, but you are against Muslim as such. Muslims ke khilaf, whatever you speak, how can you say that you are the savior of the women and you are against Muslim? It is contradictory. If you are in favor of the Muslim, you should also be in favor of the Muslim as the community of the Indian society. So he is not talking like this. So Muslim is still at the target. But how to divide the Muslims so that some Muslim women should come in favor of Modi and saying that we are the savior, and Congress and other parties did nothing to bring that end of the triple talaq. That's the point I'm trying to say. So still, he had failed to deliver the goods to the people in last 10 years and plus, and therefore he is still using this kind of language and blaming others. At the same time, blaming others, the leader of the opposition parties, and using the kind of language, urban Naxal or something. The people who are in favor of the fundamental rights, in favor of human rights, in favor of any sort of discrimination in society, they are being treated as urban Naxals.
No, but like what you said, I'll take a quick word from Ajay also, like what we've been discussing, that Modi has failed to deliver the goods to the people. His content is failing. He has nothing new to offer. So what about the charisma of his speeches? The charisma has waned or is in the process of waning? How would you really see? Is he failing almost as a leader now before the country?
So as I often say, Neelu, I think that whether it is charisma, whether it is persona, whether it is rhetoric, all that will depend on the appeal and purchase of the narrative you have. I think 2014 onwards, that tremendous formidable combination between high-end growth and development with majoritarian psyche, that was his strong turf. That's why he came across as such an infallible, larger-than-life leader, of course, with a lot of media, buttressing all of that false imagery that they built. But today, the key point is that his speeches are looking lackluster, is sounding boring and repetitive, basically because there is no new narrative that he can push. And I think that the interesting part will be this, that I think that shift to social welfare, that's not his strong turf. Modi doesn't look very convincing as somebody who is compassionate, somebody who can talk about the poor, somebody who can deliver out of the way, giving compassionate, welfare policies to poor. He might, even if he does it, that is not his strong turf. That's where people are not going to be convinced. Therefore, I think there will be a subtle shift that we can witness from jihadi to urban Naxal. I think now the target and the discourse will shift from that communal majoritarianism to conflict on alternate social visions. I think Rahul Gandhi is pushing for caste census, social egalitarianism will be the new target of this current government, that urban Naxal is now the empty category to hit out at anyone who talks about an egalitarian politics. So even as it talks about small employment and all, my hunch would be that that old jihadi language, old religious majoritarian language will be replaced by this attack on urban Naxals, which will be an oblique attack on social equality and development policies. So I think one has to wait and see. I think these are very subtle shifts. Other agendas will continue, but I'm talking about the mainstay. I think Modi will try to seize the narrative back by projecting this urban Naxal as the new emerging threat and the new enemy that he has chosen. Who will count in that? What all will fall in that is anybody's guess. But I think we have to keep a watch on that aspect of that subtle shift that has come in Mr. Modi's rhetoric.
Right. All right. So we'll end it here. Thank you so much, Professor Ajay Gudawardi. Professor Singh, thank you very much for joining on HW. Thank you.